There's this quiet moment, isn't there? It just sort of creeps up, no big announcement.
Mm,
Maybe you're doing something totally normal, like the dishes, or you're stuck in traffic, maybe just scrolling on your phone, and boom, it hits you.
yeah,
This like heavy, unsettling feeling. Everything outside looks the same, you know?
yeah,
Your job, your routine, maybe even your relationships. But inside,
yeah.
something feels fundamentally off.
Yeah, like a stranger in your own life.
Exactly. The
Well,
spark's gone, the road ahead, just fog.
it really is like you described. It doesn't usually burst in. It's um it's more like a fog rolling in slowly, right?
Right.
You might not even notice you've lost direction at first. You're still busy, still doing things
Yeah, keeping up appearances.
until you finally stop, look around and just think, how did I even get here? And where am I supposed to want to go next? You feel, well, lost.
Not lost like you need a map, but lost in your own life. Deeply lost.
Fundamentally,
And
yeah.
if that's where you find yourself right now listening to this, maybe you're carrying this like intense shame about it. Oh, absolutely.
Like you're the only one who missed this memo, the only one who took a wrong turn while everyone else is just cruising along.
Speeding towards their destination, supposedly.
But the source material we're really diving into today,
Mm-hmm.
it offers such a different perspective, a powerful one.
It does.
It says feeling lost. It's not a flaw. It's not you failing. It's actually a deeply human phase.
Yeah.
Almost everyone goes through it, whether they talk about it or not.
And we are so badly equipped for it, aren't we?
Totally.
Our whole culture, it trains us from day one. Aim high, have the plan, know what you want, go get it. Certainty is king.
Right.
But as the source points out, where are the classes on navigating confusion? Who teaches you how to just sit with uncertainty?
Nobody.
There's no manual for rebuilding when the life you thought you wanted just dissolves and you're left adrift. So when that lost feeling hits, naturally panic sets in.
And you turn it inward.
Exactly. You think something is wrong with me.
But what if?
Yeah.
What if this moment, this really unsettling chapter of feeling lost, isn't the end of the story at all?
What if, like these sources argue, it's actually a critical turning point? Maybe even like the most important beginning.
That's precisely the idea we want to unpack here. This whole deep dive is about understanding that quiet struggle,
Yeah.
looking at the illusions about life it kind of exposes, and exploring why being lost might just be the way you actually truly find yourself.
Okay.
We're going to look at how society pushes us, what happens when the normal path doesn't work out,
Sure.
how to heal from the inside, and, what it means to redefine success and purpose for you.
Okay, let's start with unpacking this feeling itself. Because it is so often quiet, hidden. The source calls it a silent epidemic.
That feels right. You see it everywhere, but hidden, right?
Yeah.
Behind the brave faces, the Instagram posts, the pack schedules, so many people are walking around with this internal disconnect. They're ticking all the boxes, going through the motions.
But underneath, there's that gnawing feeling that, is this really it? Question.
Exactly. Is this all there is? It's a quiet ache.
It feels like such a paradox, though, doesn't it? We're supposedly more connected than ever. We see everything online.
Constantly. The highlight reels.
And yet, so many people feel utterly alone in this feeling, asking themselves, is this really my life? Or how did I end up here?
And that question just hangs there because we're taught we should have the answer. We should be certain. We should be confident.
Right.
So admitting you feel lost, it feels like admitting defeat. So we hide it. We perform. We compare our own messy behind-the-scenes reality to everyone else's shiny, curated front stage.
And that comparison just digs the hole deeper, makes you feel even more like you're the problem.
Totally. But here's that powerful counter idea from the source. What if the problem isn't you?
Okay.
What if the problem is the version of life we've been sold? A version that just doesn't leave room for the messiness, the uncertainty, the sheer unpredictability of being human.
The standard script, you mean? Graduate, job, partner, house, climb the ladder.
Exactly that script. The one that supposedly guarantees happiness and security.
Mm-hmm.
But real life, it almost never follows a straight line. It twists, it turns. Sometimes it throws you into a dead end.
Yeah, sometimes it just stops you in your tracks.
So feeling lost, maybe it's not a bug in your personal system. Maybe it's a feature of trying to live authentically within a system that's too rigid. It's a signal.
A signal for what?
That something's out of alignment. Maybe the values you're living by aren't really yours. Maybe the goals you've been chasing aren't what your soul actually needs.
Ah, okay.
The source frames it not as something wrong with you, but as something trying to wake up in you. It's a sign of awakening, not failure.
And there's real power. The source really stresses this just in naming it. Just stopping the performance. Admitting, maybe just to yourself first, okay, I feel lost right now. Acknowledging the truth of where you are.
And in that honesty, that's where the possibility for change opens up, right? You stop fighting the fog and you start figuring out how to navigate through it.
Naming it is the first step. It validates the whole experience.
It really does.
And speaking of those external pressures, a huge part of this, the source argues, comes from what it calls society's timeline trap.
Oh, this is a big one. So many people feel this. From when we're kids, right? We're measured by these age-based milestones.
Totally. You should do this by this age, achieve that by then. School, career, marriage, kids, house.
There's this clock, this societal clock, just ticking away in the background. Sometimes not even in the background. It's pretty loud.
Yeah, relatives asking questions, job descriptions.
Social media feeds full of announcements.
All whispering, you should be somewhere else by now.
But the source pushes back hard on that. It asks, who actually set this timeline? Who decided where you should be?
Good question.
It's this collective idea, right? Often inherited, maybe driven by economics or just old traditions. And most people just follow it because it feels safer, maybe. It's validated by everyone else.
But the danger, as the source points out, is that this pressure pushes people into making choices out of fear.
Fear of being left behind, yeah. Or fear of disappointing people. Fear of not looking successful.
So they jump into careers they don't actually like or relationships that aren't right for them. They build these lives that look good on paper,
but feel completely hollow inside. They might be on time, according to that external clock, but they feel totally off track from their own truth.
Yeah.
Your journey isn't a race against anyone else. Your path is yours alone. And sometimes the most important growth, the biggest discoveries, they happen when you step off that expected timeline.
That might feel like you're falling behind in the moment, though.
It definitely can feel that way. But the source suggests maybe you're actually gaining ground on the path that's truly meant for you.
Society loves speed, doesn't it? Quick progress, early wins.
Right. But building a life that feels authentic, rooted in your own values, that takes time. It often requires questioning, pausing, maybe even dismantling things to rebuild them better.
And that messy process doesn't fit neatly onto someone else's schedule.
Not at all. And listen, there is no too late for becoming more fully yourself. You are not late to your own life.
That's important.
Your growth isn't always loud or public. Sometimes the biggest shifts happen quietly, in the struggle, in the reflection.
So if you're feeling lost because you feel like you're off schedule, the source is saying, be gentle with yourself. You're not behind.
You're just choosing your own unfolding over some rigid external script.
Yeah.
You're in the process of becoming.
That pressure to stick to the timeline, it Also feeds another powerful myth, doesn't it? The one the source calls the myth of having it all figured out.
Oh, yeah. This one is everywhere. The idea that successful people, confident people, they just know they've got their purpose locked down, the 5-year plan laminated.
They execute flawlessly.
And the source just calls BS on that, basically. It argues that image. Almost always an illusion.
You think so?
Yeah. The vast majority of people, even the ones who look incredibly put together, they are absolutely figuring things out as they go. They have doubts, they have fears, they have moments of intense uncertainty.
They just don't advertise it.
Exactly. They don't show it. But this myth creates such an impossible standard. It makes you feel like you were supposed to arrive at adulthood fully formed, map in hand.
Yeah. So when your life feels more like a winding, confusing path, you think, I must be doing it wrong. If you don't have your purpose figured out by 25 or 35 or 45,
you feel like a failure. But the truth, the source makes this so clear, is that clarity isn't some prerequisite you have to achieve before you can start living.
Okay, say more about that.
Clarity is earned. It comes through the process of living, through trying things, messing up, learning from it, wandering a bit. It's discovery, not a fixed state you reach and just stay in.
Right. What feels clear today might totally change next year as you grow.
Exactly. Life isn't about finding some pre-written map. It's about learning to navigate the terrain, often without a map. And nobody just hands you a perfect compass.
So the goal isn't having all the answers.
No. The source suggests it's more about getting better at asking the right questions. Like, what feels meaningful to me? What gives me energy? What drains me? What am I just curious about right now?
And just waiting around for perfect clarity before you make a move.
That often just leads to more stuckness, the source argues. You don't find the path and then decide to walk it. Often you find the path by walking.
By taking small steps.
Small steps, experimenting, saying yes to curiosity, even when you're totally unsure where it leads. Action itself can bring the clarity you were waiting for.
So feeling lost because you don't have it all figured out, that's not being broken, that's just being human.
Precisely. You're refusing to buy into a false myth, and there's real power in that. It means you're brave enough to sit with the unknown, to explore it, to let your life unfold authentically instead of forcing it.
You don't need the perfect plan.
You need courage. You need curiosity.
And
you are absolutely allowed to be a work in progress. You're allowed to not know.
This pressure to conform, to look like you have it figured out, it leads to another really painful point the source tackles. When success feels empty.
Yeah.
What happens when you actually do hit those conventional milestones? You get the good job, the money, maybe the family. But inside, there's still this emptiness.
It's incredibly disorienting, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've done everything they told you to do. You have what the world labels success.
People look at your life and say, wow, you've got it made.
And yet, you feel this hollow space, this quiet whisper asking, this is it. After all that work, all that striving, is this all there is?
The source material flags this as a really crucial moment. It's not being ungrateful or selfish to feel that way.
Not at all. It's often a sign that something deeper is stirring, that the external goals you were chasing, well, they didn't actually feed your soul the way you thought they would.
You climbed the ladder, but maybe,
as the saying goes, it was leaning against the wrong wall the whole time. This emptiness often happens because conventional success is mostly external, isn't it? It's about achievements, status, possessions, things other people can see and measure.
Okay.
But true fulfillment, that comes from inside. It's about meaning, connection, purpose, contribution, things you define in your heart when you chase the external stuff without checking in internally.
You can end up with a life that looks shiny but feels hollow.
Exactly. And it's not your fault if you end up there. You were probably just following the script you were given, trying to do the right thing.
But this moment, this emptiness, the source argues, it's a massive opportunity.
A signal. Not a failure, but of awakening. It's calling you, inviting you to redefine success entirely on your own terms.
So asking yourself, what would success feel like for me?
Yes. Would it be more peace, more time for creativity, deeper connections, doing work that feels truly meaningful, even if it pays less or has less status?
The source really pushes you to look inward, doesn't it? Define what a rich life feels like from the inside out.
It does. And redefining success, it's not easy. It takes courage.
Yeah, you might have to let go of needing external approval, maybe disappoint some people, make choices that don't make sense to the outside world.
You might need to scale back, change direction completely, or just start saying no to things that drain you, even if they look good on your resume.
Lots source is clear. This isn't going backward.
Not at all. It's a courageous step towards authenticity. You take all your skills, your resilience, your lessons.
You don't lose those.
No, you bring them with you. But now you apply them to building a life that actually aligns with your truth, not just what's expected. The world might not give you a standing ovation.
But your soul will feel the difference.
That's the point.
And talking about external pressures, we absolutely have to talk about the modern elephant in the room, the comparison trap, especially with social media.
Oh, boy. It has never been easier to compare our own messy, complicated, real lives to these polished, curated highlight reels.
Scrolling through perfect vacations, perfect families, thriving businesses.
And we inevitably measure our own backstage chaos against their front stage performance.
And the source is pretty blunt about it. Social media is not real life.
It's a performance.
Yeah.
It shows the wins, not the worries, the edited highlights, not the daily grind. You're seeing the final cut and comparing it to your own raw footage.
And of course, you're going to feel like you fell short.
Always. This constant comparison, it's a huge driver of feeling lost. It makes you doubt your own path, second guess every choice, makes you feel like you're not enough, not doing enough.
Not being enough.
Right. It pushes you to chase what looks good online instead of what actually feels right for you.
So what's the antidote, according to the source?
Awareness first. Recognizing what you're seeing is just a small, often filtered piece of the picture. Reminding yourself that someone else's highlight doesn't cancel out your own story.
Pulling back.
Pulling back and asking, what do I actually value? What brings me peace and meaning, whether it's Instagrammable or not?
Your path is yours. Its uniqueness isn't a flaw.
It's a gift. You don't need to keep up with the Joneses feed. You need to stay connected to your own heart, your own intuition.
And it's also important to remember, right, like that person posting the perfect beach photo might be miserable in their job.
Exactly. The perfect couple might be struggling. You are not alone in feeling lost or uncertain, even if everyone else looks like they have it together online.
So the work is stop comparing, start connecting.
Connecting with yourself.
Yeah.
Your values, your feelings, your actual journey. Stop performing for an audience.
Mm-hmm.
Start living for yourself. Ditch the chase for external validation. Build your internal strength.
Your story matters, even if it's not trending.
Its value comes from its truth, not its visibility.
All these pressures, the timeline, the myths, the comparison, the empty success, they often point us inward, don't they, towards the need for deeper work.
Mm-hmm.
And the source material shifts focus beautifully here, talking about the path inward, healing and trust.
And healing. It's not usually a quick fix, is it? Or a neat checklist you tick off. No. It's often slow, messy, definitely not linear. It's not about pretending the painful stuff didn't happen. It's more about making peace with those wounds, understanding what they taught you, and integrating them.
And a really key insight here from the source is that real healing, it usually has to start from within.
Right. We often look outside for validation, for someone to fix us, for some achievement to fill that hole.
But those are usually temporary fixes.
Exactly. The lasting change, the real rebuilding happens when you turn your attention inward.
So what does that inward work look like?
Well, the source mentions a few brave steps. First, just giving yourself permission to feel whatever you're feeling. All of it, without judgment.
Sadness, anger, fear, confusion.
Yeah. They're not weaknesses, they're signals. Messengers trying to tell you something.
Okay, then what?
Then comes honesty. Really looking at what you've been avoiding, the patterns you keep repeating, the truths you've maybe pushed down.
That takes courage. It can be uncomfortable.
Definitely, which is why the next piece is so crucial. Compassion. You can't shame yourself into healing. You can't bully yourself into feeling whole. You have to treat yourself with kindness, with gentleness, with forgiveness, like you would treat a friend who was really struggling.
Healing doesn't mean you'll never feel pain again, does it?
Not at all. It's more about changing your relationship with pain. You learn you can feel difficult things and still be okay. You become more grounded, more resilient. You start trusting your own inner strength more.
And that links to trust, right? Learning to trust again is a big part of this inward journey.
Huge. Especially when you felt lost or let down or uncertain for a long time. Trusting that things can get better feels incredibly risky.
You brace for the worst, put up walls.
Naturally. But life is uncertain. You can't control everything. So the source suggests learning to meet that uncertainty, not with constant fear, but with, well, a kind of brave openness.
Not because you're naive.
No, not naive at all, but because you start trusting your own capacity to handle whatever comes your way.
And how does that trust rebuild? It sounds hard.
Slowly. Through small actions. Trying something new, even if it's scary. Reaching out when you want to retreat. Making one decision based on hope instead of just fear.
And each time you take a small risk and you survive.
Or you learn something, or you find an unexpected bit of joy.
Yeah.
You build a little more trust. Trust in life, yes, but more importantly, trust in yourself.
So peace isn't about controlling the future.
No. It's about knowing that whatever happens, you have the inner resources, the resilience, the heart to meet it. You're not abandoned in the uncertainty. You're actually being guided, maybe in ways you can't see yet.
This journey inward, healing, rebuilding trust. The source says it's the foundation for everything else when you feel lost.
It really is. It's the essential work.
And this inner work, it naturally leads to the idea of starting over and redefining your terms, which can sound terrifying.
Oh, yeah. Starting over feels like admitting failure, doesn't it? Like you wasted all that time and effort.
Totally. Especially if it's a relationship ending or a job or some dream that didn't pan out.
But the source offers such a beautiful reframe. Starting over isn't failure. It's often a sign of growth. It means you've outgrown something.
You've outgrown a situation or a role or even a version of yourself that just doesn't fit anymore.
Exactly. And choosing to seek something that aligns better, that's incredibly brave.
And you're not starting from scratch, are you?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
You bring everything with you, the lessons, the resilience, the strength, even the wisdom gained from whatever led you to this point. You're not less for changing direction. You're more because you're choosing authenticity.
And the alternative, staying stuck. That's often scarier in the long run, isn't it?
Much scarier. Staying stuck in a life that slowly makes you smaller, even if it looks fine on the outside. Starting over is choosing your own vitality.
The source really empowers you here. It says you don't need anyone's permission. You don't need a perfect plan.
You just need the willingness to trust that a different path, a more aligned path, is actually possible for you. And beginnings. They're almost never comfortable. They ask you to grow before you feel ready.
And this is all tied back to redefining success, right? Stepping off that standard blueprint we talked about.
Absolutely. Creating a life based on your values, your sense of meaning. And that requires letting go of needing everyone else to approve.
Yeah.
As the source highlights, the most powerful, fulfilling lives are built in alignment with your personal truth, not for external applause.
It's a process, though.
Yeah.
Listening to those inner whispers.
What makes me feel alive? What energizes me?
And bravely saying no to things that drain you and yes to things that feed your spirit.
You stop being just a character following someone else's script. You become the author of your own story, navigating your unique path, twists and turns included, with intention.
Starting over wasn't falling back. It was stepping onto the path that was actually yours all along.
That's it, exactly.
Okay, so bringing this all together, when you're in that place, feeling lost, navigating the uncertainty, redefining things, the source emphasizes finding meaning in small moments and embracing uncertainty.
Yeah, because when the big picture is a total blur, when those grand dreams feel miles away, the source reminds us how grounding it is to find meaning in the small everyday stuff.
Like what?
Like a quiet cup of coffee in the morning, the feeling of sunlight on your face, a genuine smile from a stranger, a small act of kindness you give or receive.
Just being present to the little things.
Exactly. It's a practice of presence, slowing down enough to notice the beauty and connection that are actually available right here, right now. It doesn't make the pain or confusion disappear.
But it expands your view.
Right. It reminds you that moments of simple grace exist even inside the struggle.
Like anchors.
Yes, perfect word. They anchor you back to yourself. Remind you you're alive, you're here, you can still experience beauty, even when the future feels totally uncertain.
And speaking of uncertainty, the source really flips the script on that too, doesn't it?
It does. Instead of seeing uncertainty as the enemy to avoid at all costs.
Which is what we usually do.
Right. Instead, the source frames it as maybe life's greatest teacher, a necessary doorway to transformation. The invitation is to lean into it with curiosity, not just fear.
Because real growth happens outside the comfort zone.
That's where it always happens. Embracing uncertainty, navigating it, builds resilience. It deepens your confidence in your own ability to adapt, to handle change, no matter what life brings. Because change is the only constant. Right.
True. Learning to live with doubt, then. Navigating without a clear map. Finding meaning in the small things when the big picture is fuzzy.
That's the path through feeling lost. It's not about getting rid of the uncertainty. It's about learning to exist within it, trusting that even in the dark patches, there's still movement, there's possibility, there's light trying to get in.
You're not failing when you feel lost.
You are growing. You're evolving. You're becoming. Your life isn't measured by how perfectly you stuck to some plan,
but by how bravely and authentically you navigate the detours. So to kind of wrap this up, feeling lost, it's a deeply human experience. It's maybe a powerful signal that you're ready to pause, reflect, maybe even reinvent.
And being lost. It isn't failure. It's actually a vital part of growth, of transformation, of stepping more fully into who you really are.
Yeah.
Your unique path is unfolding, and you absolutely have the resilience, the courage, the inner wisdom to navigate it.
You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be to become who you are meant to be.
So instead of asking, how do I find my way out of being lost?
Yeah.
What if the question you ask yourself was, what is this feeling trying to teach me right now? And what new path, maybe one I never considered, is it inviting me to explore?